Hi, Robert. Okay, here I am an hour later and a lot sweatier. I could still be working out right now, but I'm not working out right now. Why? Because everything's about balance. What you really want to find with this video that is going to answer hopefully some of your questions about your scheduling is how to find balance. Now, you can't find balance by only looking at this video. You have to go through the other processes first in order to understand the higher purpose in order to find the balance. I don't know if you ever watched, let's see, was it Master Fighter, or some of those kung fu movies, if you're into movies. One of them is The Master Fighter, I guess I forget what it's called, but he wants to start on the highest level of the Shaolin Temple first, and he goes in there and he can't do it. And he doesn't realize the reason he can't do it is because he hasn't done the preparatory work in order to be able to do that. So, if I were to just go right to your letter here, which I'm going to do now, and tell you some things about it, you're not going to be able to do it. Even if you implement, if you look and strain to find the things I'm saying to you right now, you won't be able to implement them properly. And even if you do and you succeed, you will still fail. So I'm doing this because this is what you're asking me to do. But I don't know what you're going to get from it. Even if you feel you're getting something, you're not going to be getting anything. You're not ready for it because you don't understand the higher purpose. If you don't understand the higher purpose, you don't know why you're doing these things. If you don't know why, lack of motivation will creep in, and entropy and different factors of your breaking down and whatnot of the basic ways of this world and the flaw and limitation of mankind will creep in unbeknownst to yourself, or maybe known to yourself, I don't know, and will eat away at you, and you will not accumulate what you're trying to accumulate, and it will be somehow limited or thwarted in many ways. And if you can realize it is, and you can bring yourself to an understanding of why it is, you can change it. So that's what the other work I'm doing with you is hopefully going to help you with. So let's just go through these, and I'll give you some examples of what I think about things, what I do in my life. And obviously the answers to your questions, some of them will be right there. You don't want to sleep late. You don't want to stay up late. You nap too much or stay in bed. Okay. When I was in nursery school, we used to have to nap. It was my least favorite time of the entire day. I had to sit there for an hour with my eyes closed, staying still on a mat. I could not nap. I hated it, but we had to do it. It was mandatory. My entire life, I've never napped. Now, that's just me. But I would suggest to you, do not nap. Don't do it. Forget the meaning of the word. Don't ever nap. I would suggest to you to get on a schedule and stick to it. I would suggest to you, the first thing you do is, you can stay up later if you want. But don't nap, and always get up at the same time so that your body becomes adjusted to it. It won't take any effort after a while. You won't even need an alarm after a while. I've been getting up at 7 o'clock for the past 12 years. That's not very early, but it's a balanced, reasonable time. If I get to bed by 11, I get 8 hours of sleep. I hardly ever get to bed by 11, but I get up at 7 o'clock every day. The alarm does not need to go off in order for me to get up at 7 o'clock. The sun does not have to rise in order for me to get up at 7 o'clock. I'm going to get up at 7 o'clock every single day, period, on my own, because my body is set to that. I could get up earlier, but what do I accomplish? If I give more to getting up before, I just will have less later in the day. So you really can only accomplish so much each day, and this is all about balance and all about focus. Get up at the same time every single day, commit to it, set the alarm clock at first. Go to bed when you're tired. Do not nap. Okay, you say more exercise. That's fine. There's plenty of things to do in New York for exercise. You can exercise, like you said, walk around, not even realize you're exercising. But you said you like going to boxing, you like going to martial arts. Well, that's exercise. Do it more. Does it cost more to do it more? Can you take longer classes? Can you take more classes? You mentioned how you were stressed about all the options. Do you have to choose one or the other? Can you do them all? Can you do more of one? Can you do more of two? If you have enough money, can you join more than one martial art program? There's plenty of ways to exercise in New York. You can walk. Even that would be enough. You could never even leave your apartment and just do push-ups. Well, quite frankly, what's the motivation? What are you trying to accomplish? It always comes back to why. What are you trying to accomplish? You have more energy? What are you going to do with the more energy? You don't know what your greatest life purpose is yet. What are you going to do with the more energy? Trying to impress girls? Want to look hunky? You're going to have to follow that road through to the end, wherever it leads. Are you ready to follow that road through the end? If you're not ready to follow that road through the end, why are you trying to achieve the road? What are you trying to accomplish? What do you want? Why are you doing what you're doing? Come up with concrete answers for that. Design your exercise to help. When you find yourself wasting time, being bored, being on the internet, doing whatever it is that you think could be better done through exercise, stop. Exercise. Go out and walk. There's always something going on in New York. Not necessarily where you are, but maybe a little bit further from where you are. Go outside of where you are. Go farther. There's always something going on. Don't stop exercising until you have discovered every little inch of New York and found your favorite places. And once you've found your favorite places, continue to go to those places, but insist that you go at least part of the way there through walking or bike riding or some means with exercise. You may have to get through some of the difficult parts to get you a longer distance on bus, subway, or something like that. But once you find all the different places that you like, continue to go to those places. Make that more about what your life is like than whatever it does that you do that is not exercising. Insist that you do that. Find the discipline to do that. You'll find the discipline to do that through knowing why you're doing that. You'll know why you're doing that when you're serving your greatest purpose. Order less meals delivered to my home. There's nothing wrong with meals delivered to my home. I don't cook. Cooking can be rewarding, can be enjoyable, but why do you need to cook? Do the meals give you something that is more than you need? Are they putting on pounds? Because you have such a cornucopia of options in New York to order, are you making the bad choices? Are you ordering the things that aren't benefiting your health? Are you ordering things that are giving you excess calories and excess things that you don't need, so that you then have a harder time with your life and have to go back to number 2 and do more exercise? That's defeating you. You already know the answer to this. You already know you have to do better. I don't think ordering less meals is the answer. If you want to order meals and you enjoy that convenience, then order more meals. But order them properly. And do something in the time that you're in your home that's beneficial while you're waiting for that delivery. If you're not cooking, do something that's beneficial. Don't sit there twiddling your thumbs or surfing the internet or doing something that's not beneficial. Tell yourself, whatever it is that you think you need to be doing, that is the thing you'll do while you're waiting for your reward. When you put in the order, say, this order will take a half an hour to 1 hour to get here. During this half an hour to 1 hour, I will pay the price for having my meal. Number 1, by ordering the meal that is only going to be good for me and will only do good things for me. And number 2, I will only spend my time waiting for that meal doing productive things. You've gained your reward. Because first off, the meal is a reward in itself because it's only healthy, nutritious with no extra calorie-laden things. So you've made a good choice. You will not be harmed by making that choice. And number 2, while you're waiting for the delivery, you have put that time to good use. You will do something that is productive and only productive, and you will rationalize in your mind and justify that because you've made those 2 choices and stuck with that, you have deserved the reward of the food. Now find a food that you can enjoy immensely without any negative drawbacks to having it. And if you can't find one that won't have any negative drawbacks, then eat less of the one that you are eating. Whatever you do, do not drink soda. If you're already drinking soda, you gotta stop. You've got to stop drinking juices and sodas and Gatorades. If you've got to drink soda, I hate to say this, but drink sugar-free soda. But the problem is, and I've been talking to others about this their whole lives, if you give the inroad and the body doesn't have the mastery of the discipline that it needs, the foot's already in the door, you will eventually regress back to sugar sodas. So it'd be best to not do sodas. It'd be best to give up television. If you're not capable of it, or you think, oh man, you're already asking way too much of me, then Drink sugar-free sodas. But do not. There is absolutely no benefit in drinking a soda unless you're on the road and you're going to crash into a barrier late at night because you're tired. There is no benefit to drinking a soda. Walk around the city, take pictures once or twice a week. My son takes pictures. I take pictures. We're 5 years behind on the old conventional ways of using pictures and putting them in photo albums. Our photo albums are this wide. We're 5 years behind, and our photo albums of what we took in the last year would be twice that. It seems impractical to me to put that into printed form. Part of the benefit we still get of taking the pictures is that we take the time to make a selection. What do we think is valuable in what we see? How do we compose that and represent that in a way that captures that value that we can share with another? Kind of like the art thing I was talking about, Artsy 1. Even if you do that application process, even if you don't ever see the picture again, even if you don't even have a camera, but you're doing that with your eyes visually as you walk along, you're still gaining. Remember the ant carrying the one thing. He can carry that one, but you give him too many things to do and he can't do it. Even though he's strong enough, he'll be jostling all the things and they'll fall down. If you take so many pictures you can't do anything with them, you'll soon wonder why you're taking the pictures. You'll soon think, geez, this is another waste of my time. I can't possibly keep up with the development of all these pictures. If I develop them, I can't keep up with the display of these pictures. I can't keep up with anything that have to do with these pictures. Why am I even doing it? Use it for the art flexing of the muscle. Use it for the activity that got you out there. You're walking around the city. If you don't want to take the camera, don't take the camera. But pretend like you have a camera. Pretend like your mind as an artist sees everything in compositions, textures, subtleties, light and darks, color variances, juxtapositions, meaning versus non-meaning, spatial relationships. Look at everything as a painter, as an artist, as a photographer, and go through this complex world we live in, especially you, and especially into the city of New York, and get that exercise for number 2. And keep doing taking the pictures thing, even if you never do anything with the pictures, even if you don't have an actual camera with you. Attend a painting class and paint at home also, classes once a week. Well, that shouldn't be hard. You said you love painting. You can do it 8, 10, 12 hours a day. No brainer. The only thing I suggested is, rather than just getting the thrill out of the modulation of the brushstrokes, ask yourself if you're making a statement with your painting. Ask yourself if what you're doing with that painting is worthwhile doing. Ask yourself if you're moving towards an ultimate end, an ultimate goal that your greater higher purpose that you've already put together for yourself would be in tandem with. Ask yourself that while you're working. Are you trying to make a greater artistic expression that will help other artists to make greater artistic expressions? Because if you do, you're not doing art for art's sake, but you're helping other artists. If you help other artists, then every single other artist that sees what you do and gains benefit from the insights that you've had can now help other artists and other people through their art to see. And if their aim is true towards helping in the world, you have helped them to gain that same thing you're trying to do, which is to formulate your art into a tangible, transferable presence in a tangible realm to another person to help them. If you can help another artist do that through the study of your artwork and being seen and understood, even if you're just making a statement to another artist, then you've enabled others to do the very same things that I'm trying to help you to be able to do. So look towards your art as a statement thing. Practice your drawing skills daily or every other day. Yeah, it's so important to be able to draw. I mean, there were people like Picasso. We don't know how he could draw. I'm sure if I went and studied Picasso right now and I looked at some of his stuff, I'd find out he could draw. Maybe not in a way that we consider drawing to be eloquent and well thought out and well structured and well manipulated so that the drawing emulates what's actually being seen. But he saw drawing in a way that gave us a way to see things that we didn't see. So his statement or use of drawing was a beneficial way. We wonder whether or not it would have been any better if he could draw better. It's not necessary, is it? What he did, what the statement he made, didn't require the better drawing. I did study art history, but I would have to go back and look at Picasso individually now and see again what his actual drawings would have looked like early on in his training to be able to comment on that. And I can't comment on that, but I would say this. You don't need to be able to draw well in order to make a statement. However, being able to draw well gives you a greater sensibility of being an all-around artist. Why? Because you understand the concept of the form. You understand the entire process of the form. You understand the manipulation of your point of view and the manipulation of the mediums that you use in a spatial relationship on a plane to transfer that 3D thing onto a 2D space and manipulate that in a way that is transferable to another person, adding your vision and point of view onto it. Learning to draw and making what you see transferable to your medium is a skill that is worthy of being worked at, because by taking that skill you can then transfer more effectively, and that's what you want to ultimately do to fit your ultimate purpose. But it may not be through drawing. It may come through something else. But if that's where your love lies, yes, by all means continue to do that. But if you're forcing yourself to do it, or you're saying, I'm not spending enough time doing this, are things getting in the way? Let me give an example of my own life. I've played the drums for 25 years. I love playing the drums. I can't play the drums right now because I live in a place where I can't make enough noise. So, because I have had that problem here, I have decided to play the piano. However, I have never had a music background. I never had anybody in my family that could help me with a music background. I'm an old dog, and it's hard to learn new tricks. My son can look at music. Within 1 year, he could be a musician. He can read music with no trouble at all. I started at the same time as him trying to learn to read music, and I still can't do it. Why? Because my mind takes me to places each day where all my time is occupied by other things, and the part reserved for the musical thing is as less. And I don't let things come through in a steady stream. I have the filters going. Well, the filters sometimes can slow your learning down. The filters are helpful in many other ways of your life, but when you want to learn something and have it come through naturally, like learning music, I can't do it fast enough. I can't recognize the notes fast enough. I can't recognize what the fingering of the note is going to be fast enough. So what I do is I say to myself, okay, I'll never be what you're going to be, youngster. You're going to take a different approach. I'm going to take a different approach because I have to, because of my age. And I'm not going to shoot for the stars. I'm going to use piano or a musical instrument, also play the trumpet, to help me to understand more about myself and visualize in a way and relate to the music that I'm listening to and understand the masters that I appreciate by taking and applying myself to what their art was. And even if I fall short, I'll greater understand them. So now I've used music for nothing more than to help me become a more well-rounded person. So once again, I'm in balance. I may never be a superstar. I may never totally learn to streamline and read music easily. But I have done something I wouldn't have done otherwise. So one of the things I've done for the past 3 years, maybe about 3 years now, is get up every day when the kids are getting ready for school. I have the dishwasher. I make a rule that at night, once I've lived a hard day, I don't load the dishwasher. That's my reward to myself. I say, I'll do it with fresh energy in the morning. So the dishwasher usually is waiting for me in the morning to be loaded. It has to be loaded because we need to have the room. My wife does the cooking, and I need to make it so that she has a place to work, a palatable place. I could have turned the whole kitchen over to her, but that's really not fair. We try to work together as a team. So I can get up in the morning and I can wash the dishes, or I can say to myself, I know the dishes are going to get done, but I don't know that I'm going to be able to practice piano. So what I do is I get up right away at the same time every day, take a shower, and I'm dressed in no time, and I'm on the piano. If I can do that, while everybody else is taking their time, I can get a short practice in before I have to address the needs of anybody else and before I have to do the dishes. If I were to go to the dishes right away, or if I were to take my time getting up, the piano time would be lost. So I remember that. I remember that's going to happen. And I get myself an activity ahead of time that I can count on. I'm going to hit the piano first. It's going to be a short period of time. When I hear the movement in the rest of the house, and I know my time is almost up, and I'm going to be interrupted at any moment, then I go to the kitchen where everyone is meeting to have breakfast, and I do the dishes then. If I do the dishes first, the piano won't happen. So knowing that I have to do what must be done, or lose it, is a very important thing in my negotiating how I prioritize some of the things on my list. You need to do that as well. What most valuable things to you are going to be lost if you don't prioritize properly? Perhaps the drawing will be lost if you don't put that up there. And we know that's important. Why? Because it's helping you to develop the standards that you can see the world with. It's helping you to develop your vision of the world so that you can take that vision and transfer it onto a workable medium. It's helping you so that your greater understanding and vision of it can be worked into a workable medium and transferred on another person. Your greater purpose of the transference to another person and helping the world and others with what you are capable of being fully if you realize your potential is being served by your greater understanding of artistic expression and artistic development through the tools and processes that you use. So that's a high one. You need to make sure that one happens. Even if you're doing it as you walk along and you don't have a pencil in your hand. Maybe take a pencil and a small pad when you go somewhere. Say, I'm going to be tired of walking. I'm going to sit down in a park and I'm going to draw for 30 minutes before I go back. Then, as you're walking, you're seeing everything in an artistic way. Make sure you do that. Don't concentrate on your problems. Don't concentrate on the idiot on the sidewalk. Concentrate on the way the idiot fills the space. Concentrate on the interrelating people around him and how they fill the space. Concentrate on the diverging personalities and how the interactions take palatable form like painting and strokes and textures on a canvas. Concentrate only artistically when you walk along. When you get where you're going, draw something. I'm not saying put your pencil and paper around and down like me and only, I haven't drawn for a long time. I only draw now with ideas. I only draw now with imagery. But I'm drawing and seeing things as a drawing constantly. I'm constantly getting my hand and my mind around the concepts and the textures and the images and the 3D things in everything I look at. You need to be getting there. Drawing skills can help you to become flexing your muscles so that one day you don't even need the pencil anymore. So that needs to be high on the priority. Read more, 30 minutes, an hour a day. Do not read by skimming the channels of the internet. Do not read by letting words go in and go across the page. Find something profoundly connected. Find something profoundly that you think, and it may be different tomorrow or the next day or a year from now, but right now, what do you think is profoundly connected to the essence of what we're here for, the meaning of life? Don't go just to thinkers and read an entire body of their work. I told you the other day, don't even listen to what I say. Don't listen to what anybody says. Listen to suggestions and then spend time thinking. The reading that you do each day can be done to find what those suggestions are, but do not intrinsically put yourself in their life and take their essence out of it and bring it and make it to your essence. You become nothing more than a puppet or a follower if you do that. Only discover their searching, only discovering their technique. Then the reading's over. You then apply that technique. Go on to another reading. As soon as you become too inculcated into the entireness of whatever it is that you're reading about, you've already gone too far. You've already used it for more than a learning tool. You're already becoming inculcated into the following of the essence of what that person is doing. So, 30 minutes a day, read for inspiration. Read for how to learn. Read for how other people can see things in a different way. Read for pleasure or relaxation. Read so that you can, intelligence is the mind's ability to utilize knowledge. You must have some knowledge in order to use intelligence effectively. So read for knowledge gaining. What's worthy of you gaining knowledge so that you can use intelligence for? What is worthy of you finding? You won't find very much on the news worthy of gaining intelligence, knowledge to use your intelligence for. You have to figure out before you spend that 30 minutes an hour reading, what is worthy of your 30 minutes. So, don't implement the read 30 minutes or more a day until you know you're reading the proper 30 minutes. So that one's going to go down a little bit on the notches of importance on your list of daily scheduling. But as soon as you know that you've got that anchored down and you know you're reading valuable things, then it's going to go back up on the list. Then it's going to go higher priority. But make sure that you know that it's burning in you to read what you've got scheduled to read, because if you don't read what you've got scheduled to read, it's so important you'll be lacking somehow. Once you know you'll be lacking somehow, you'll know to bring it up the notches, and you'll know that that'll take high priority. That burning in you, the tie to the inner essence of the basic fundamental essence of the reason for being, the greater sense of being, will be connected with that. You'll sense those connections. And when you sense those connections, you will higher prioritize it. And you'll do it naturally because it will have to be done. It will be mandatory for you to do it because you'll realize and understand how important it is. And that will help you prioritize. You'll know where to place it on the list because it will show itself to be what it is. But you have to be doing the homework first in order to figure out what the reading is going to be and why. And then the natural occurrences that I'm talking about now will take place. Meditate. Oh, gosh. New York is a great place to meditate because you're constantly going somewhere, especially if you're walking around and want more exercise. It's a no-brainer to wait for the walk light to go, and then you go to the next block. It's a no-brainer. You can get from point A to point B in New York as long as you're in a safe neighborhood without having to think about hardly anything. This is all meditation time. You must let the problems and these long lists and your stresses and your need to be obsessive compulsive about everything in your life drop. As soon as it drops, the mind instantaneously goes into a meditative mode. But what is it meditating on then? If it's focusing on something worthless or on nothingness, that's not good. So again, like the reading list, you've got to figure out what's your greater purpose, what's your greater understanding of all things. Then, when everything else drops, you're not in a void. You're meditating on that. You've got reason and focus for your meditation. Now you can do that in your sleep. You can do that between the walk signals on each block. Now you're meditating every single chance you get a free moment. What stops your meditation? Too many choices. Too much mundane other stimuli. Too many things to think about on the internet that are meaningless. Too many things to think about on Facebook or text that are meaningless. Too many other people's problems that come and weight you down that are meaningless. Too much attention to things that are of the main populace that are also about the facade, that are meaningless, that aren't helping them, that aren't guiding them. Television. Frivolous entertainment things to take your mind and focus it off of your pain for a little while. All meaningless. Only the higher purpose is meaningful. You determine what that is. The fabric of the universe will help you to determine what that is. When you become sensible to that, and you think you can start to touch it with your feelers, you reach farther. You reach farther. Each time you meditate on that, that's the only thing worth meditating on. If there is a God or a higher universal energy, that will be in that. And each time you meditate on it, you will get closer to there. Don't meditate on how God doesn't seem like he's fair, and that's why you don't believe in him, because look at how hard I got it. You made a lot of the things the way it is for you to be hard. And you listening to all these other people and all these other stimuli and learning about all the pool of ideas that they have given to you has made it harder for you. God didn't make it that way. Man made it that way. Each individual man continues to compound the problems for every other man that comes on. God didn't do that. If there's a God, God didn't do that. It was man with his own free will that got sidetracked, lost focus, looked at the whole thing as the glass is half empty, got himself stimulated to take his mind off of things, and transferred everything that wasn't valuable to everyone else. You need to focus on transferring things that are valuable and look at those that do have something to transfer and taking just what you need, but then you create the artwork. That's what you want to do. That's what you want to receive. That's what you want to be about. And when you are, every time you meditate, and every time everything falls away that is worthless, that's what you'll be left with. And you'll take it right up where you left off before, every single time. And you could do it without even thinking about it. That's where your heart and your mind is going to be on the crux of where you need to be. Once you get an inkling of the greater understanding, the greater higher conscious, the greater essence of the reason for being, that's where your mind's going to go every time. Everything else will fade away. Everything else will dim. And when you get in the crux of that, and that's where your mind comes every time, you can then fix all these other factors that are influencing your daily life and the facade that you live in. But they'll be fixed not through the factor themselves, but by your greater understanding of them all. And you could be the master of them. And that's what needs to happen. Less TV, less internet. You already know, and you're absolutely right. If you can go cold turkey, do it. No thing that anybody tells you on the internet or TV is going to help you. Only the suggestion. That's all I'm here for. You now have to take that and run with the ball. If you think you're going to be a robot and someone's going to program in the programming, you've already lost. If you think you can program the programming based on the external factors, you've already lost. If you realize the master looks for the crux of the whole thing underneath it all, and then the programming comes out of the bounty and the flowing of what he's achieved, then you've got it. That's the difference. You won't get that from TV. You won't get that from internet. The whole world is nulled. The whole world is void. The whole world is numb. TV and internet is keeping them there. Another benefit from when I gave up TV that I forgot to mention when I did it before was my mind became self-sustaining early on without the influences of the TV because I separated myself. That is so unusual. That's a huge benefit because instead of being constantly drawn in to everything that everybody else holds in common, now you're your own self. You're not probably old enough to remember this, but when I was younger, there were only 3 TV stations. And then there was like UHF, which gave you a 4th. And then that divided, and then cable came along, and then before you knew it, you had tons of TV stations. But whenever you got together with your friends or anybody, you were always in a common understanding with them because the chances were that they had watched one of the 3 shows that you'd watched. And you had something at the water cooler to talk to them about. Now the world is so diverse with the multi cable channels and the multi internet things and all the ideas, it's very difficult to find a common thing that you can talk to somebody about. And whenever you do find a common thing to talk about, even if it's really boring and mundane like Facebook stuff and stupid little stuff that happens every day, people latch onto it because that becomes everything for them. And that is one of the big problems where you can't find a focus for yourself because now you're subservient to all the drone. You're subservient to all the drone of the input and stimuli that the world might dish out. And you'll never be the master of your own destiny when you're that. So less TV and less internet. None at all, if possible. Don't say, oh, well, how can I be tuned in? How can I be strong? How can I be as up to date on things as my neighbor if I don't watch any TV or internet? Because all that's eternal and true will last, and you can gain that. And you can not go know what's going on in the world over there next door, but you can know that you know it even without knowing it, because all the model of all things is right inside of you and right here. So if you become a master of your circumstances and your environment and yourself, you can rest assured that the problems that you had to overcome that are everywhere. And you can rest assured that they're dealing with that there, just like you are here. They don't have some alien over there helping them, and you're without. They don't have some special qualities or magical treatments over there, and you're without. They're dealing with the exact same thing that you are. So even if you don't know the ins and outs of their particular facade and circumstances, you know the ins and outs of their inner, because you learn the ins and outs of your inner. And even if they haven't learned the ins and outs of their inner, you have, before you've ever even met them. So you're already the master of them before you even knew they existed. This is not going to happen when your mind is nulled and void and numb and in common with the rest of the populace. You're going to be wallowing in darkness and ignorance just like them. You must become the master and separate yourself. Less TV, less internet. None if possible. And then if you do come back to TV and internet, then come back only in a way that it goes through the filter that I was talking about. I have watched various TV programs and various things through time, and everything that I find and encounter in life on the street or anywhere I go or on the internet or on TV goes through the filter. I see now everything for exactly what it is. I don't get tripped up by anything. I'm consciously aware of it as it comes in. I place it immediately where it needs to go, and that's how it stays. You can do that too by becoming the master of your intake and the master of what you already have and the master of everything you're going to build. That's what the ultimate purpose will help you to do. You have to discover that first. Small improvements in chores to help father. It's good that you want to help your father. I'm sure you said your father's helping you with some income and whatnot, and you want to be able to help. A lot of this will come under the order less meals delivered. Go ahead and order the meal. make sure it's healthy for you, and during the entire ordering process, or maybe even if you need more time, a half an hour before you order, an hour before you order. Make the window as large as you need to, depending on how these other things on this list go. That's when you do your chores. Say, I'm going to have what I want, by golly, I deserve it. And I'm going to make sure it's good for me, so I'm not losing anything, but I'm going to work until that time comes, and I'm going to savor it. When I'm eating that special meal from my special place that I know is healthy, or if it's not as healthy as I'd like, order less of it, I am going to work on the small improvements and chores for the house, or to help my father, during the time that's building up to that. During the time that you're waiting for the order man. And if you need more time, start before you make the order. Do a certain amount of tasks, then the phone call. Then a few more tasks, then the food. Hour a day on my cleaning projects. Is it better to be organized and dirty, or clean and disorganized? Cleanliness is next to godliness, some people say. I believe that health is reliant on a good, a clean environment. But also, the mind is reliant on things being in order. These go hand in hand. You need to clean and you need to organize. But you can't organize without a greater sense of purpose. But you can clean by just using elbow grease and cleaners and doing what needs to be done to clean up the various things that the world needs cleaning up. So start on the cleaning up first. And while you're cleaning with mundane tasks, doing the floor, doing the windows, doing the oven top, doing the counters, be meditating on the purpose of the projects and the organization of the projects of the cleaning. And then eventually one day, even when you're working on the projects, you'll still be able to meditate while you're doing it. You'll be able to multitask. You'll know what all the questions are that need to be answered to every single thing you pick up and what to do with it. And you'll still be able to meditate on the next thing. You'll become so strong and so focused, and your muscles be so flexed and strong on when you're answering the questions for one thing, it'll instantly be so continuous that the next thing that you pick up, you'll be able to then do it at the same time. And in the corner of your peripheral vision, something you haven't even gotten to yet, you already know the answer to that before you even got to it. But cleaning doesn't take any energy as far as the mind. Use the cleaning to give you time for mundane work that needs to be done anyway, and focus on the meditation and the answering of the problems that will lead you to greater tasks, and then do the greater tasks when you're ready for those. If you took right now and took those boxes and unpacked them, what you did and what you thought of with all the items in there would not amount to anything well done today, even if you could do it all today, comparatively to where you would do all the things you would do if you had the greater purpose and understanding. What you would do and how you would do it would be completely different. So what I'm saying is, don't undertake that task until you're prepared to know what to do with that task. Do the mundane tasks first. Do the mundane tasks of cleaning. Do that on a regular basis. Use it as a meditation time. Take a shower daily and brush teeth as well. First off, if you can't take a shower daily, you got problems. A shower should be one of the biggest joys in life, possibly as great as sex or better. You should be taking 2 showers a day. I don't know if you have a water bill that you have to be concerned about, or hot water, or maybe you don't have a very good shower. I don't know why you wouldn't take a shower every day. Oh my gosh. Take a shower every day. Take a shower twice. Take a shower when you get up out of bed to invigorate yourself and make sure you're perfectly clean and fresh. And take a shower at the end of the day. And take a shower after your workout. Showering is not something you use conservatively. You just do it. It's great for you. There's nothing bad about it. Do it. Brush your teeth. If you're not healthy, you have nothing. If you have concerns that don't have to do with the greater life purpose, like parts of yourself that are deteriorating, you've already failed yourself. You don't want to do drugs, cigarettes, bad foods that aren't helping you, caloric intake, sugars, artery clogging things that aren't going to help you. You definitely don't want your teeth to be a problem for you. If you can't maintain your body well, it's breaking down the whole way through. Everything else you do is going to be harder. Everything you are doing is already hard. Why would you want it to be harder? It's a no-brainer to take care of yourself every day. Showers, teeth brushing, things like that should be one of the first things on your list. And it's so easy. It could easily be number one on your list. Again, when you're in the shower or brushing your teeth, you can't do anything else. Meditation time comes in. Put it at the top of the list. Add the meditation to it. Once you know that you're meditating on the right things, you're meditating on the life purpose, the greater purpose, the ultimate perspective of all things, the heightened conscious understanding. I want to cook more meals instead of eating food off the shelf. If you want to, then the answer to that is just do it. It's a driving desire. Are you wanting to because you think you couldn't do something else? Are you wanting to because you don't want to order the meal because you're getting fat? I already solved that before by saying make sure your reward is justified by what you do leading up to it. If you think you've got to cook as just another way when you can't afford to order a meal because it's cheaper, then you may have to go there too. You might have to spend some time cooking. But when you're cooking, you can't do anything else but cooking except for meditating. So, if you're cooking some of your meals in order to save the money for others doing it for you, that's fine. Or if you love to cook, that's fine. But then look at it as not a burden, but another time to meditate. The instant gratification of eating food off the shelf doesn't give you the time to meditate. Perhaps if you're going to eat the food off the shelf, do it while you're walking along. Make sure it's a healthy food off the shelf and meditate as you're doing it. Or get a street vendor thing as you're walking along. Make sure you're meditating. Make sure you're exercising. Make sure your justification for your reward is always being arrived at by your activity, before, during, or after. Take a long bike ride. Good thing that you have a bike. You're probably better off in Brooklyn than you would be in downtown New York. It's dangerous down there. But there are bike paths over there on the west side, I know. But getting over there would be tricky. If there's good places to ride, definitely ride. Meditation time. Great work for your legs and your upper groin area and your abs and your core on a bike that you wouldn't get through walking. Great to circulate those knees. That'd be great for your muscular control and your squats for your martial arts and different poses that you might do. Great lower body strength. Riding the bike is a great thing to throw in there, and the meditation. But just, it's a little more dangerous to ride the bike, so when you're meditating, make sure you're concentrating on what you're doing. But absolutely, ride the bike. Add that into the repertoire of the exercise. In 3 months, you want to be in art school full-time. Do you want to learn how to be an artist? Do you think you already know how to be an artist? Do you want to just be with the artists? Do you want to be doing that because it's your favorite thing to do? If you think that you do, then by golly, if you have the money to do it, do it. I went to art school for all the wrong reasons. I went to art school because I was talented. I went to art school because people told me I should. I went to art school because I didn't know what else I was supposed to do. I was talented. Turns out I'm a true artist my whole life. Turns out that the art that I use is with ideas and conceptual nature of all things rather than necessarily some of the things that a lot of people think of artists as. If people were to see me, they wouldn't even recognize me as being an artist. Some people do, but you almost have to be an artist to recognize that I'm an artist. If you want to be like an artist, be like the standard version of an artist, communicate with artists, learn to use artists' communication skills effectively. If they appeal to you, then do it. Being in art school full-time will help you to have a focus, and if you love it, it'll be a focus that you love. It'll take away from the TV and the internet It'll put you to work on a project that is worthy of your working, and that's good. So if you can do it, you can afford it, and you want to do it, do it. But while you're there and you're painting, again, remember all these other things. Remember the greater purpose. Remember the meditation. Art gives you so much time to meditate because your mind can conceptually think and your hand can conceptually work. I remember when I was an illustrator, I was bored to death sitting at the drawing table every single day. But I had a little television, which I wouldn't put where I could see it. I always made sure it was behind me. And I would listen to the talk shows. Donahue was big. Big. Oh, man, I owe so much to Donahue. There's so few people in the world like Donahue. I was going to ask you earlier if you had any heroes or people that you really could help you. Donahue was one. Donahue could see things in a way that no one else can see them. And by the time you would have been listening, he'd have been gone. And he's still alive, but you don't hear anything from him. Donahue was a great person that had a heightened conscience. I got a lot from Donahue. I think I got more from Donahue than most other people got from Donahue, and most other people that I could have seen in my life. But the point I'm trying to make is that when I was doing my illustration every day, I wouldn't get the joy of manipulating the medium. I wouldn't get the joy of what I was producing. Like I said, found myself there because I was talented at it. I showed a propensity to do it. I did it very, very well. I was very talented and skilled at it, and I did it. Made money at it. So what did I do for myself? I made sure the talk shows were on the entire time that I was working. So what I was really gaining was the money for doing my task and doing it well because nothing I did detracted from it. But what I was doing was I was meditating on the concepts that were being brought in by the talk shows. I was constantly listening to what they were talking about, hearing their opinions on things, formulating my own opinions, and making it all about that. Donahue was the best. He's not been beat. Oprah is a joke compared to Donahue. Oprah is a self-serving joke. Sorry, Oprah. But you are. So when you go to art school full time, have your own talk show going on in the background at home while you're painting. Maybe listen to music occasionally. I listen to music now because I'm a musician, and I can think meditatively now and don't need the talk show to instigate this. I did use talk shows for a good long time to instigate my thinking about these things. Be careful with talk radio, though. Talk radio is very biased. In fact, most talk shows are very biased. Donahue was an exception. Be very careful. Everything presents one point of view or another in these talk radio things. And you can get lulled into listening to the point of view, and that could be bad. You've got to be constantly working around to circumvent what's being said and using your own filtering mechanism and your own intelligence to really see the greater picture of it, the greater understanding of the greater purpose of what you're letting come into your life by the stimuli. Talk radio is a great thing. Talk shows are a great thing. But now everything's celebrity. There's not higher concepts being presented very much on talk shows like Donahue. There's not higher conscious. America is going lower and lower and lower in the conscious now. We're getting even more primitive, if you can believe that. So much stuff is celebrity stuff now and fluff on talk shows. Only use them if you have to get started, but then switch gears and do some major meditating while you're doing your art. Study those concepts, those art concepts. That'll be great. Give you something to think about, something productive. I generally wake up between 6 and 10 a.m. No! That's way too big of a window. You are so undisciplined. You got to set it to exactly one thing. You decide what it's going to be and stick to it. You've got to bring some discipline into your life. You can't just say, I'll just do whatever I want today. You're not Arthur. You saw what his life was like with the old Arthur and the new Arthur, the drugs, and not the drugs, but the alcohol, and just do whatever you want because you're rich, you can do it. You can't be like that. You may not be rich, but you don't have to do anything, and that's just as bad. That's just as bad. You don't have to do anything. Got to get rid of that 6 to 10. Get rid of that. Sleep is erratic? No wonder your sleep's erratic. You get all these things stressing you out all the time. You got this schedule that's erratic. You can't prioritize anything. And you don't even do the basic things like taking a shower and brushing your teeth every day and getting up at the same time every single day. Of course your sleep's erratic. That has to be solved right away. That has to be at the top of the list. Your health, this food, ordering the meals, brushing the teeth, taking a shower, sleeping at the same time every single day and getting up at the same time has to be at the top of the list. Nothing else is going to work on this whole list until you get that. Keep a normal schedule. You will keep a normal schedule once you learn to get that first and then start to prioritize these other things within the greater purpose understanding. You will slowly work at getting a schedule that is more formulated and basically on a normal schedule. You will be able to do that. That is doable. You fill up the day with internet and TV. Gotta stop. Just gotta stop. Good distraction. It's a distraction. You know it's keeping you for what you need to do. But you don't know what you need to do yet. I told you, what do you want? Tell me. You don't know what that is yet. So it's a distraction, but you don't know what's distracting from, and so you're allowing it to distract you. Learn what it's distracting you from. Learn the value of it. And then you won't let it distract you because you'll see the pain. You'll see the hurt. You'll see the limits, and you won't let that happen. That's why you've got to know what you're doing and why first, so that you can stop and take control out of all these other things that are mastering your life, and you can become the master of them instead of them being the master of you. That's got to go. You got to be the master of the TV and the internet and the distractions. It's a good way to pass your time. It's not a good way. It's killing you. And it's going to kill you more, too. It's not a good way to pass your time. You feel like you're actively participating, but you're not. You're just a drone. You're just a reflective mirror. When you press the text button and you say whatever thought popped in your head, you felt like you did something. You didn't do anything. You're just a mirror. You're just a sounding board. You're becoming like them, a zombie. You got to stop. You got to go cold turkey if you have to. My days are big, long, unstructured, and unplanned. I hope this video tells you why. I hope this video shows you why. I hope when you comprehend these things and you work at them one after another and put things in priority and you realize why and make them all about what you're working towards, you'll see why it's a big, unstructured, unplanned day. You'll make it more of a structured, planned day. But you won't do it just because you're going to do this, and this. You'll do it because you know why you're going to do this, and this. Once you know why, you can start doing the outline so that it matters. You'll know why it matters, and because you did such a much more intelligent outline of it, it will produce results without motivation, because the motivation will not be coming from the list. The motivation will be coming from the why. I'm going to stop this video in case it got too long and do another one. There's more to say here, but I'll do it on the next video. I'm just going to cut off here because I've spent 52 minutes and I don't want this to flop and go away. So we're going to leave that there. You got more than enough to think about for today or tomorrow, or even more after that. And we'll continue where we left off. You have a good one. You can do this. I know you can. I know you're already doing it. It's just a matter of time, and it's a choice. How committed are you going to be? Can it be instantaneous, or will it take you time? You have everything you need for it to be instantaneous, but you must get your hands around it. You must let go. You must drop the facade of all these other things holding you back and take control, and it'll be right there in your lap. I'll talk to you soon.